Hi guys, this is Klazart bringing you another audio commentary, and this time I'm commentating on the game played between Nalra and Julyzerg. There have been a few great games played today, and we saw Saber vs Stark earlier, and that was definitely a good game. And so I'm really looking forward to this game between Nalra and July. As we all know, Nalra is probably the most legendary Protoss player around, nicknamed the Dreamer. And he has time and time again come up with the innovative, unique strategies and surprised us with his excellent micro and game sense. Julyzerg is more than famous in his own right. He is the player who is responsible for bringing us the amazing Mutalisk Harass. He pioneered that. Many would argue that he has also pioneered the 3-hatch build that Savior has made famous, and which pretty much every Zerg seems to use these days. So you know, these are both great players, old-time greats, and I'm sure a lot of long-time Starcraft fans have been looking forward to this matchup. Nalra obviously is one of the most consistent so-called great players around, apart from Nada. He's always seems to qualify for the MSLs and the OSLs, and he always does very well in them. He is a very, very difficult player to beat because his gameplay is very, very solid. I think Nalra's main weakness is that he tends to get overconfident on occasion. And that definitely would be his main weakness. He tries to sometimes go for too risky strategies, and you know, I suppose it's a gift as well as a curse, because Nalra's risky strategies are what make him such an entertaining player to watch. And I wouldn't be surprised, you know, considering the proximity of the bases here, if he tried something like that. Julyzerg, on the other hand, has been slumping for a long time. He actually his contract at MBC game was not renewed for probably financial reasons. He wanted too much money, and they didn't give it. And he's now with the SK Team 1. So this is an SK Team 1 KTF rivalry game, you know, which adds all the more to the excitement of it. Nevertheless, I still think this is gonna be a good game to watch, and they're playing on Python, and this map has provided us with a number of exciting games. I don't think I've seen. I did see one Protoss versus Zerg game earlier in this. That was Oversky with his 3-hatchling rush. I don't think Julyzerg is going to be going for that. So starting up here, you can see that Nalra is playing toss, and he's at the 1 o'clock position in brown, and July is that purple? Sorry, it's brown, and July is red at the 2 o'clock position. And July sending his overlord clockwise his first overlord clockwise to scout. Excuse me, and he obviously did not find Nalra's base with that. And Nalra has set up 2 gateways, so it looks like Nalra is going for a manlot rush. He's put 2 gateways inside his main, so it looks like Nalra is going to come up with the Zealot rush, and this game could be over very, very soon. Especially if July decides to go for a 3-hatchery build. If July goes for a 3-hatchery build, he could leave himself very, very vulnerable. But oh my god, July has gone for a spawning pool as well, so it looks like both players going for a rush. July's putting down the spawning pool first, maybe anticipating the rush from Nalra, I'm not sure. But he's starting up his hatchery now. But Nalra is going to have those 2 gateways, and I think July is going to have a hard time defending that first hatchery that he's put down. This is an interesting choice of strategy from Nalra. He went into this strategy pretty blindly, not knowing where July's base was, and had July's base been all the way across the map, then Nalra, I think, would have had a much harder time executing this rush that's going to be coming up. But July, the fact that he's got his hatchery up, the fact he's got a spawning pool up, even though he set up his hatchery quite late, he's going to have the Zerglings to probably be able to cope with the Nalra's rush. The only problem is that July still is not aware that Nalra is rushing, because Nalra very, very wisely put his tech at the other end of his base, and that's something we've seen a lot of players do. So I'm not sure if July knows what's coming from Nalra, but I don't think it's going to affect the way he plays too much. I mean, he's seen that Zealot now, so you know, I'd like to see if his Overlord has found that base. But I think July, basically, once he sees that Nalra has a couple of Zealots, Nalra is not going to have the element of surprise, really, I think. And July is probably going to start putting down a sunken the moment that first hatchery comes down. That's what July needs to do. He needs to plant a sunken the moment that first hatchery comes down. He needs to produce a lot more Zerglings to cope with Nalra's rush. I do think the fact that they both went for kind of very similar type strategies, in that July went for a spawning pool first, though July didn't really go for a rush. He has quite a few Zerglings. July's planted the 3rd hatchery down, and Nalra has seen that. So July is setting himself here. He knows that Nalra's rush is not going to work against him. So July is trying to give himself an economical advantage by putting down that 3rd hatchery. And July has obviously scouted the fact that Nalra has got 2 gateways and is going for a rush. So I think the fact that Nalra's rush is not really going to be effective. I think July is going to be able to successfully thwart that rush, is going to give the advantage to July in this game. It'll be interesting to see when the players start teching. Nalra is just accumulating those zealots up. I'm sure July knows what's coming. He should have started at least 1 or 2 sun guns up at this point. Nalra is putting up a forge because he knows that July is probably going to be prepared for the rush up, and we see July putting up a sun gun, so that's very, very good by July. Nalra, one of Nalra's weaknesses, as I said, is he does go for the riskier strategies, and the other thing he does a lot, which I don't like, is that he switches to carriers at inopportune times when he's ahead in the game. So looks like Nalra's rush is not going to materialize, and instead we're going to see a counter rush from July. He's built up a lot of Zerglings in preparation for Nalra's rush, and he's going in now. I'm not sure if Nalra is aware that these Zerglings are coming in. I don't think this is a good idea by Julyzerg, because those wall of zealots can easily hold that number of Zerglings. So July finally seeing all those Zerglings and pulling back from that rush. But I think I think both players need to start teching very quickly. The player who techs first is probably going to find themselves having more of an advantage. Nalra now building a couple of cannons. So Nalra is kind of blocked inside his base. July continuing to press with the Zerglings. Looks like July is going to go for a Zergling attack here. July getting the Zerglings in. He's surrounded the zealots. A few of the zealots go down. The zealots are surrounded. So July doing great micros around the zealots. Nalra has positioned those. Oh my god, Nalra's zealots are getting taken out. July running up the ramp. July needs to get up that ramp quickly. Nalra has not blocked it. The probes have come out too late. The zealots have died. The Zerglings are taking on the probes. This looks like GG. I don't see how Nalra can recover from this. Nalra is losing a lot of probes in this attack to Julyzerg, who already has a great economy. Okay, the probes finally managed to block off the Zerglings. Only a couple get through, and they're not going to probably do a lot of damage. But July, not only did he take out all of Nalra's zealots, which means Nalra is not left with any opportunity of countering here, but the fact that July is taking to lair already. July is on his way to lair tech. July also killed off quite a few of Nalra's probes. I didn't count how many. Was it 5 or 6 probes that went down in that attack? Nalra now just sending 2 zealots down, hoping that he can catch July off guard, but that's not going to happen. July's got that sunken. He's prepared for this. So this is advantage July, definitely. And he's sending those 4 Zerglings and rushing the pass. And the funny thing is that those Zerglings, are they speed upgraded? I can't tell. I don't think they're actually upgraded in speed. So Nalra just trying to form some defenses in his base. He's going to stick those 2 zealots up the ramp and stop July's Zerglings from getting further up. So the momentum in this game definitely in July's favor. Nalra is setting up an expansion, has got his expansion up, but I don't think that's necessary. And Nalra does have good micro. I think Nalra did not micro his zealots very well in that fight against July. He should have kind of tried to hold it more at the ramp as for compared to where he did, because what he did was he allowed July's Zerglings to completely circle his zealots, and what that meant was you had 4 or 5 Zerglings hitting each single zealot, instead of, if Nalra had positioned them properly, or positioned them in such a way that July couldn't get around them, then that would have happened. I think Nalra did get caught a little. Nalra can't really claim to have been caught off guard by that. So this is very interesting. July's lair is up, and he's going for a hiderless den.